Welcome to Start at Seattle. I'm Michael Grabham. Today, we'll talk with Monica Houston, who'll give us a peek at the hackerspace where founders can go to build hardware.
We have laser cutters and 3D printers, and we even build electronics on demand.
Plus, she will help us get to know 3 startups before we hear their elevator pitch.
Excy here is a total body exercise cycling system.
We're brought to you thanks to our sponsor, Seed IP. IP stands for intellectual property, and they know how to help you secure yours. That's because Seed IP is in the business of protecting ideas. Have legal questions about your startup's idea or inventions? Give Seed IP a call and they will be able to help. Now this show is also a startup, so we're learning a lot from your feedback. One way you can give us feedback is through a tool called Emojot. While you're watching this broadcast, you can tell us how you feel about it throughout the show. Just open emojot.com/idea in a browser on any device and click on the emoji. We would love the feedback. Next, I'll get tips from a startup expert on how to take your idea from a sketch on a napkin and build it into a thriving company. My guest today is Dave Parker. Dave is a huge supporter of the Seattle startup community. He's in the 3rd year of running Startup Week. He's a mentor to local accelerators and college entrepreneur programs. He is currently the CEO of Code Fellows, a code training school based here in Seattle, and helps folks career transition to get jobs in technology. Now, Dave, I know you've helped more people than anyone I know get an idea to an actual refined company. So tell us some more about how that happens.
So I think for me, the lessons learned of having started a number of companies myself is knowing what I know now, there's a different set of questions I would ask than the first time I did it. So being able to talk about both your successes and your failures is kind of a key moment of that, and being able to look at ideas from a really critical perspective. You have to be willing to take your idea and say, yeah, that's not a really great idea, but it's the only one I have, so maybe it's time to let it go anyway.
When is it an idea and when is it a real product or a real service? Like, when's that transition happen?
Yeah, for your audience, one of the things I would ask if we were sitting down over coffee is, first tell me about your idea. Give me the 1-2 sentence version. And if I can't understand it, I want to be able to ask the next set of questions, which is help me explain it a little bit more, help me understand it. And then help me understand what market it's in. Is it a product? Is it a service? Is it a passion? Or is it something else? If it's something else, I don't know what it is, if it's something else. If it's a passion, I appreciate people who have great passion for what they do. But passion is important, but it's not sufficient for a startup. You have to be able to really come back and say, okay, is it a service, which means after we sell it to a customer, a group of people have to deliver it, kind of like delivering a TV show or delivering legal services. Or is it a product, like a WhatsApp or a Snapchat, where somebody can use it whenever they want, and as the founder, you don't have to be awake and doing business. You can actually sell something when you sleep. So that's kind of the definition of a product.
Yeah, very different.
Very different, indeed.
Yeah. You know, there's products that maybe are just a business, and there's products that maybe are scalable in more of a technology startup. So tell us the kind of the difference between that, which maybe just a business and a startup.
Yeah, I think one of the things I think about in the difference in the space, especially as we talk about startups, and startups are very vogue now. But when I started my first company in 1998, being an entrepreneur in Seattle was really different. So a lot of people think of small businesses differently than they think of startup businesses. Small businesses, generally somebody who sets up a business to run and service a particular geography. That may be a cleaners or a restaurant or something like that. And most of American businesses are small businesses.
Yeah.
They are geographically constrained, and they're typically delivering services in a particular footprint. A startup business, though, has different ambitions. The ambition of a startup business is to really grow and scale past a particular geography, nationally or internationally. Yeah. And so when we think of startup businesses really have the potential to scale at an exponential level versus a linear level. So what I mean by that is they multiply in capacity versus I have 1 store today, I'm adding a 2nd store. So that's what I mean by the difference in the 2 models. There's nothing wrong with being in a small business, but it has different economics and different dynamics than being in a startup business. Yeah. The idea that you could grow a business to, I don't know, how many billions of users does Facebook have today?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a business that is eminently scalable, has a chance to just be a huge business. So there's a big difference between startup businesses and small businesses.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And so let's get back to kind of the idea stage. What are some things that founders should do when they're thinking about their idea? How do they kind of get it going? Start on a napkin. What do you do next?
So the first thing is, can you explain the idea to somebody around you that doesn't know you? It's one thing I always say, it's your mom's going to love you anyway, whether she understands your idea or not, right? So you need to go talk to people and find out if they understand the idea and if they'd be willing to use the product or the service. For a lot of first-time founders, there's two dilemmas with that. Well, number one is, it's the only idea they have, and they don't want it to be wrong. And since they don't want it to be wrong, they don't want to ask anybody about it because they may find out that it's wrong.
It's wrong.
The other thing that first-time founders do frequently is they will say, well, I don't want to share it with anybody because it's a secret, and somebody will steal my idea. And oftentimes in startup community, you'll hear this idea that the idea doesn't matter, execution matters. It's not really a true statement, but it definitely has caught on. And the reason it's not true is that it assumes that you have a good idea. So if you play that sentence again, the idea doesn't matter, only the execution matters, that would be true if the idea was a good idea. If the idea is a bad idea, you can execute to failure really, really fast, right, with a bad idea. So coming back on that, I think from the first-time founder perspective, if it's your only idea, you have to be willing to kill it if it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
And number two, keeping it secret. Ideas die from lack of exposure, not from overexposure. So the outcome for both of those is the same thing. You need to go do what we call customer development in the startup world, which is get out of the building, go talk to 100 potential customers. And you should ask, is this a problem or not? What are you using today? What do you love about what you use today? What do you hate about what you use today? What would you be willing to pay for it? And the last question you should always ask in that interview process is, if this idea was to fail, why would it fail? And what happens for a lot of startuppers, for the first time ones, is they have a bias in the process. They want their idea to succeed, so they'll never ask the question like, if this was to fail, Mike, tell me why it would fail. And because they don't ask that question, that selection bias gets in the way, and people end up pursuing ideas for years that never should have been pursued at all.
So recently, Dave, Bill Gross did a TED Talk about market timing. So kind of give us your thoughts about market timing.
Yeah, I'd say that was one of the great videos. He kind of broke down why companies were successful, and one of the topics was, are you at the right time to market or not time to market? Because a lot of things we see in startups is people will follow ideas that have already been successful. So let me give you an example. In 1911, my grandfather ran the first Ford garage in southwestern Washington. Well, that's before the assembly line was even started, which was 1914. So the good news was, well, he sold that company too early. But then he bought the first phone company in southwestern Washington. And he sold that too early too. So one of the things I always talk with startups about is, look at the market timing of the idea that you're looking at. When Groupon happened, there were a dozen followers to Groupon. Well, there was more than a dozen. There were a dozen in Seattle. Is it an idea that no one's ever thought of before? Or is it an idea that's already happened? And be objective with yourself to understand where that market timing is. So the thing I would tell you too, learning from the Ford analogy, is Henry Ford said, if I asked people what they wanted, they'd say, I wanted a faster horse. I would just remind most of your audience, there may be an exception out there, but most of us aren't Henry Ford. And the difference is, with the internet today, all of that data is really now available. So market timing really matters. Do your research, and do the research well.
So one final question, Dave. You're an entrepreneur. You've been working on your idea for several months, maybe even a year. When do you know when to quit your day job?
So that's the traction question. So traction is a term you'll often hear in the startup world, and it usually is whatever stage of growth that you're not at yet. So what you'll hear somebody say is, hey, come and talk to us later when you have more traction. The challenge with that is that traction is very loosely defined. So what I would tell a founder is, before you leave your day job, set a list of criteria that you want to go prove to yourself before you make the jump, before you spend a ton of money. So how can I build a minimum viable product for a few $100s instead of tens of thousands of dollars? How do I not spend all of my savings yet? So what I always tell people, doing 100 customer interviews and customer development will help you either succeed amazingly quickly or fail fast. So if you do 100 customer interviews, and if 60 or 70 people say, that's amazing, I would buy it today, you're probably onto something. If 60 or 70 people say, I don't really understand what you're talking about, I would say keep your day job just a little bit longer, test the idea, iterate on it, try to pivot a little bit, and really find something that people are excited about using, rather than something that you're excited about selling them. That's the big difference between quitting your day job and not quitting your day job.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, thank you very much for being here today. I really appreciate you taking time to do this. Good luck with Code Fellas. Keep up the great work, and I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to go to a hacker space where we can learn how to make some really cool, interesting products.
It's a cup that has electronic brain in it. You can take a phone call on it, and this does memos, and this is a game.
Welcome back. Today, I brought in Monica Houston, who's going to talk to us about hardware. Monica started the first hardware startup weekend here in Seattle. Monica, what have you been up to lately?
I actually work for a startup called Hackster.io, which is a project site for people that like to build their own DIY technology. These people are called hardware hackers and makers, and they share their recipes on our website for how to build connected hardware. So they share components, they share instructions, and anybody that wants to can visit our website, find the recipes, and build it themselves.
Oh, cool. And so tell us about some projects you have on there.
We have thousands of projects. So people build everything from home security devices to there's a crock pot, connected crock pot, that lets you monitor your cooking from your phone so you can cook that perfect pot roast from wherever. And my favorite is a self-watering flower pot. So it senses if the soil is dry and then waters the plant for you so you don't have to worry about your plants dying. And I'm actually really involved in the community here in Seattle of hardware hackers. So we do a monthly meetup called the Seattle Arduino Meetup, where we get together and build things.
Arduino. Now, I've heard a lot about Arduino. Some really interesting projects you can do with Arduino. So give us maybe some of your favorites about that you can do with Arduino.
Well, rather than tell you, I actually want to show you because I was in Capitol Hill at a space called Metrix, a maker space. So I want to show you what we did there.
Great. Let's go do that.
Hi, we're here at Metrix Create Space on Capitol Hill in Seattle. I'm here with Matt Westervelt, the founder of Metrix. Okay, Matt, tell us about what you do here.
We do all sorts of things here. We have workshops to skill people up, and we have tools and machines to help people finish their projects. We have laser cutters and 3D printers and CNC routers, and we even have an advanced circuits lab so we can build electronics on demand.
Wow. So what kind of things do you make here?
We make all sorts of things. This is kind of a fun thing. This is a T-Rex skull that we just downloaded from the internet and 3D printed. This is something that I designed. This is a business card that is laser cut and snaps apart to build a stepper motor. So it's a digital motor there, and you can learn all about how motors work. And this is a really simple project to test out a microcontroller, and that was done in our circuits lab. And that takes about a minute worth of laser time, and it was about an hour to set up.
Oh, that's really neat, Matt. Now let's take a look at a hardware project in progress. This is Jack Gillum, and he has a really interesting hardware project to show us. This looks like a cup, Jack.
It is a cup, Monica. It's a cup that has a computer inside of it. And it's an everyday object that's been enhanced by the same types of maker technologies that you've been showing throughout this segment. This is a smart mug that has a color screen on it. And that color screen can access various different functions. It tells you how much you're hydrating during the day, what temperature your liquid is that you have inside of there so you don't scald yourself. You can put voice mails through it. You can take a phone call, and you can also see what weather is hitting your direction.
Wow.
You also just simply charge it by putting it on a saucer.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Jack. The hardware hacking community is huge. Lots of people build their own hardware using 3D printers, using laser cutters. It's really great how the community likes to share their ideas and projects on websites like Hackster.io and also in makerspaces like this one. Thank you so much, Jack and Matt, for the tour.
Thanks for showing us that wonderful space. I love it how you can just go in there, see Matt, get access to electronics, hardware, and you can even find out about classes and experts. I mean, it's really what the startup community is all about.
Yeah, it's so great how the hardware community is so sharing, and we actually set up Hackster.io to help support that kind of sharing.
And that leads us to our Launchpad startups today. All three have had to work through how to build their product. This segment is sponsored by Startup Grind. Check out startupgrind.com to learn more about monthly fireside chats with extraordinary founders. Now, we also want your feedback on which of these startups has the product that you would most likely use. After the show, you can vote on the product in the poll on our Facebook page. The startup with the most votes will receive 2 months of free membership at Galvanize. That includes desks for up to 3 people. Galvanize is an excellent co-working space in Pioneer Square. You can learn to be a developer or a data scientist there. It's popular with the entrepreneurs in the Seattle startup community, and the Seattle Startup Grind meetings are there every single month.
Okay, it's time for me to tell you about our first startup founder. He's going to be pitching his idea for a learning system for dogs. It solves a real issue for dog owners that want to keep their pets happy and stimulated even when they can't be home with them. So take it away, Eric.
Thanks. My company PupPod is building a learning system for dogs because your dog is smart, but their toys are not. Now our vision's much bigger than the first product because we hope that dogs can learn all kinds of service skills like detecting cancer in human beings or just picking up items around the house for someone in a wheelchair or helping turn on and off light switches. Now the way it works is dogs play with smart toys that are filled with sensors and wireless technology. When they do the right thing, they earn treats from a wirelessly connected treat dispenser. Now the game keeps getting harder as the dog starts to figure it out, so they always have to be thinking to keep earning treats. And pet parents receive notifications on their smartphone when their dog plays PupPod so they can see the game stats and see how much their dog has eaten, what their success rate is, what their dog is learning, and, most importantly, see really cute videos of their dog playing. Now you can pre-order a PupPod on our website at puppod.com, or you can take your dog to Seattle area doggy daycares that are piloting PupPod, and you can find them on our website or on our Facebook page.
Thanks, Eric. You know, we're going to see a lot of products that are connected to our smartphones.
Our next startup is actually also an app that connects to a piece of hardware. It was created by a full-time working mom who didn't have time to go to the gym but didn't like being out of shape.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Michelle Mel's Excy. I actually saw her doing arm exercises with a broken leg.
Yeah, this thing can actually work out upper body and lower body. It's really versatile.
Michelle's done a really great job of using crowdfunding to understand if her product's going to be successful or not. So she had a successful campaign which proved that there were people actually going to purchase her product, which is very important.
Yeah.
So now she's actually selling it on her website. She's done a really great job of using crowdfunding. Take it away, Michelle.
All right, thank you. I'm here today because my team believes that exercise is medicine for a healthier lifestyle and to prevent disease. So what we've done is we've set out a way to make exercise convenient at home, work, or on the go. And we have a mobile coaching training application, so it's like having a total gym and a personal trainer wherever you want, wherever you are. And so Excy here, short for exercise cycling, is a lightweight, compact, portable, total body exercise cycling system. It has 22 pounds of resistance in both forward and reverse motions. You can work out your upper body or your lower body and get one heck of a core workout on the floor. It is lightweight, it's fun, it's convenient, and it doesn't take any planning. It is available to you at the exact time and place that you have to exercise, and the entire family can use it. We are accepting pre-orders on our website, so whether you want to use Excy for weight loss, for rehab, or just simply to get more activity during your day, it will be ready at the exact time and place that you have to exercise. Thanks so much. Visit our website at excy.com and check out our Facebook page. Thanks.
Thanks, Michelle. I love how Excy tracks the intensity of your workout and interfaces with your phone. Our next startup was founded by a pair of 10-year-old twins who decided to solve a messy problem.
Yeah, you know, what I really like about this pair is they've done what Dave Parker earlier in an episode talked about, and that's just really talking and listening to customers. I mean, they went to the zoo, they went to talk to other dog walkers, they were literally interviewing strangers, and that's where they learned to create a great product.
They actually created more than 30 different versions or prototypes of this product. What's really cool is that they were able to integrate all the different feedback they got from people they talked to make it into a really better product for their customers.
Yeah, and you know what, probably the most important thing they learned from all this feedback was you had to be able to use it with one hand. So that's what they've learned, and they're still continuing to get feedback. Now, they're now 13. They have busy lives. You know, they have school and activities and homework and all the things a 13-year-old has. And they have a website now. They're selling it on Amazon, and they continue to reinforce it and get great feedback. These guys have done a great job. Sarah, Annalise, take it away.
Hi. I'm Annalise.
I'm Sarah.
We all love our dogs.
But walking our dogs has one big problem.
Carrying around that gross bag of dog doo.
Along with our dad, we set out to solve that problem.
We started by talking about solutions. Then we talked to dog owners at parks, on trails, and even at the zoo.
We learned a lot about what mattered most to them, and it was clear that they didn't like carrying around bags of poo.
Then we created Wise Walker to give you a place to stash that nasty bag while you finish your walk.
It's really lightweight.
It's got a zipper pouch for your keys, your phone, some treats, whatever.
Of course, a place to store a roll of clean bags.
And you can even open and close it with one hand.
Wise Walker gets that bag of poo out of sight,
Out of mine,
and out of your hands. If you have a dog, we know you'll love a Wise Walker.
You can find us on Amazon and wisewalker.com.
Good job, Annalise and Sarah.
Great job. Monica, it's been great having you here today, learning about the Arduino community and the hacker community. It's been really interesting. I really look forward to having you next time.
Thank you so much, Mike, and I can't wait to be here next time.
Great. Be sure to go to our Facebook page and vote for the product you think you would use the most. And when we come back, I'll give you my final thoughts on how to create some great products. Welcome back. One thing I think is vital when you're creating your product for the first time is to focus on creating the features that you really need to demonstrate the product's use. That's what you test the market with. Keep it simple. That will save you headaches in the long run. You create great products by solving a problem and listening to feedback from your potential customers. For more of my interview with Dave Parker, check out Start at Seattle's YouTube channel. We'll post a link on our Facebook page too. And remember to vote there. Now, thanks to Dave and Monica for joining me in the studio today, and thanks to Metrix Create Space for the tour. And we couldn't bring you this show without our generous sponsor, Seed IP. And thanks to Startup Grind for helping bring some great local startups to our show. If you have an idea, get off of your couch. Go talk to people. Talk to all types of people. Follow your passion. And just go start it. I'm Michael Grabham. Have an amazing day.